Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Crown, and today I'm going to read you some very interesting stories that I hope that you're gonna love. And now, without further ado, let's go! I'm a freelance graphic designer, and I've been in this line of work for about 5 years now. It's a job I love, but it comes with its own set of challenges. One of those challenges is the unpredictable schedule. Some days I'm twiddling my thumbs waiting for clients to get back to me. Other days I'm racing against the clock trying to meet multiple deadlines. This particular day was one of those hectic ones. I had a meeting with a new client in the morning, which ran longer than expected. Right after that, I had to rush to the other side of town for a photo shoot that was part of another project. The timing was tight, and I knew I wouldn't have time for a proper lunch. As I was driving, my stomach started growling, and I looked at the clock on my dashboard and realized I had about 20 minutes before I needed to be at the photo shoot location. That's when I spotted the golden arches of McDonald's. It wasn't my usual go-to for lunch, but it was convenient and quick. Plus, it wouldn't break the bank. I pulled into the drive-through lane, already planning how I'd eat my meal while driving to the next location. As I approached the speaker, I heard a crackly voice. "Drive-through worker, welcome to McDonald's. What can I get for you today?" "Hi, can I get a medium McThing meal, please? Would you like to upgrade that to a large for just $2 more?" "No thanks, I'll stick with a medium." "Alright, please pull up to the first window." I drove up to the window, fishing my wallet out of my pocket. The cashier gave me the total, which seemed a bit high, but I was in a hurry and didn't want to waste time questioning it. I handed over my card and they swiped it quickly. "Could I get a receipt, please?" "Oh, sorry, the receipt printer is broken." That struck me as odd, but I didn't have time to dwell on it. I moved to the next window to pick up my food. The worker handed me a bag and a large drink. "Excuse me?" "Excuse me, I ordered a medium meal, not a large." "Oh, I'm sorry about that. Let me get the manager for you." A few moments later, a woman with a name tag that read manager appeared at the window. "Is there a problem?" "Yes, I ordered a medium meal, but I was given a large. I'd like to get what I actually ordered, please." "I'm sorry, but we don't do refunds here." I blinked, taken aback by her response. It wasn't even about a refund. I just wanted what I had ordered. "I am not asking for a refund. I am asking for the correct order that I paid for. As I said, we don't do refunds. You'll have to take the large meal." That's when it clicked. Having worked in fast food during college, I recognized what was likely happening. They were probably running some sort of contest to see who could upsell the most large meals. It explained the higher price, the lack of receipts, and now this stubborn refusal to correct the order. "Look, I understand you might be trying to meet some sales quota, but this isn't right. I didn't order or agree to pay for a large meal. Sir, you're holding up the line. You need to move along." I could feel my frustration rising, but I took a deep breath. I had an idea. "Alright, if you won't correct this, I'll have to call my bank for a chargeback. Since you're refusing to fix this, you'll need to explain to them why." I pulled out my phone and dialed my bank's number, putting it on speaker. The manager's eyes widened. "Sir, there is no need for that. We can—" "It's ringing. You can explain to them directly why you won't correct an incorrect order or provide a refund." As the automated phone system began its prompt, I could see the panic in the manager's eyes. She looked at the growing line of cars behind me and then back at me. Fine. We'll refund the difference and give you the medium meal. Just hang up the phone." I ended the call and smiled politely. "Thank you. That's all I wanted in the first place." The manager disappeared for a moment and returned with a medium drink and a handful of change. She thrust them at me without making eye contact. "Here is your correct order and the price difference. Have a nice day." I took the items and checked to make sure the change was correct, and it was. "Thank you. Oh, and could I get a receipt now?" The manager's face tightened, but she nodded stiffly and printed out a receipt, handing it to me. As I drove away, I was glad I stood up for myself, but it bothered me that they tried to take advantage of customers like that. I decided to take it one step further. When I arrived at the photoshoot location, I had a few minutes to spare. I used that time to file a complaint with McDonald's corporate office, detailing the entire incident. I didn't expect much to come of it, but I felt it was important to report such practices. And to my surprise, I received a call from the district manager the next day. He apologized profusely for the incident and assured me that they would be investigating the matter. He also offered me a gift card as compensation, which I accepted. A few weeks later, I drove by that same McDonald's and noticed some changes. There was a new manager on duty. I still occasionally hit a drive-thru when I'm in a rush, but now I always double-check my order and insist on a receipt. You never know when you might need to prove what you actually ordered. I'm a 28-year-old elementary school teacher. I met my fiance 3 years ago at a local coffee shop. He's a firefighter and we hit it off immediately. After dating for 2 years, he proposed during a beautiful hike in the mountains, and I said yes without hesitation. As for the woman I'm about to tell you about, let's just call her Karen. She's my fiance's ex-girlfriend from college. They dated for about a year before breaking up due to what he described as her possessive and controlling behavior. I never thought much of it until she started showing up at random places where we'd be, always with some excuse about why she was there. At first, I tried to be nice. I even invited her to our engagement party, thinking it would be a mature thing to do. And that's when things started to get weird. She'd make passive, aggressive comments about my dress, my hair, or how I wasn't right for my fiance. I brushed it off, but my fiance was getting increasingly uncomfortable with her presence. Fast forward to the week before our wedding, I was at the bridal shop for my final dress fitting. My mom and my maid of honor were with me, and we were all excited. The dress was perfect, a beautiful off-white mermaid gown with delicate lace details. I felt like a princess in it. As I was changing back into my regular clothes, I heard a commotion outside the dressing room. When I stepped out, I couldn't believe my eyes. There was Karen, holding a pair of scissors, standing over my wedding dress, which was now on the floor. The bodice was completely shredded, and she was working on destroying the skirt. "The hell are you doing?" Karen looked up with crazy eyes. She didn't even try to hide what she was doing. "You don't deserve him. He's supposed to be with me." I was in shock. The shop owner was on the phone, presumably calling the police. "Are you insane? That is my wedding dress. Do you have any idea how much that cost?" "I don't care. You stole him from me, and now I'm making sure you won't have your perfect day." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. The rage inside me was building up. "I didn't steal anyone from you. You broke up years ago. He chose to be with me. Get over it." "Liar! He still loves me. He's just confused." At this point, I lost it. I walked right up to her face, not caring that she still had the scissors in her hand. "Listen here, you psychotic witch. He doesn't love you. He never will, and you need to accept that and move on with your life instead of ruining mine." I guess that was the last straw for Karen. With a scream of rage, she lunged at me with the scissors. Everything seemed to move in slow motion. I saw the glint of the blades coming towards me, and I thought, this is it? I'm going to die in a bridal shop. But then out of nowhere, my mom appeared. Now, let me tell you about my mom. She's this tiny 5'2" woman who looks like she couldn't hurt a fly. What most people don't know is that she used to be a martial artist instructor before she retired to focus on her gardening business. In one fluid motion, my mom grabbed Karen's arm, twisted it behind her back, and used Karen's own momentum to flip her over. Karen landed on her back with a loud thud, the scissors clattering to the floor. We all heard a sickening pop, and Karen let out a blood-curdling scream. "That's what happens when you mess with my daughter, you lunatic." Karen was rolling on the floor, clutching her shoulder and sobbing. My mom had dislocated her shoulder with that move. Just then, two police officers burst into the shop. They quickly assessed the situation and handcuffed Karen, being careful with her injured shoulder. Officer 1 says, "Ma'am, you're under arrest for assault with a deadly weapon and destruction of property." As they were leading her away, Karen was still yelling nonsense. "This isn't over. He'll see that I'm the one for him." Officer 2 tells her, Yeah, save it, lady." Once Karen was gone, reality started to sink in. My wedding was in 3 days and my dress was destroyed. I sank to the floor and started crying. My mom and maid of honor huddled around me trying to comfort me. "Don't worry, sweetie. We will figure something out." The maid of honor says, "Yeah, we're not letting that crazy woman ruin your big day." The shop owner, who had been quietly assessing the damage, suddenly spoke up. "I think I might have a solution." We all looked at her. I have a dress in the bag that was never picked up. The bride who ordered it eloped instead and didn't want it anymore. It's similar in style to yours, just a different size. If you're willing, I can work overtime to alter it to fit you perfectly. Are you serious? You'd do that for me? Of course, dear. No bride should have her special day ruined because of someone else's jealousy. Plus, I've never seen a mother take down an attacker like that before. It's the least I can do. We all laughed, the tension finally breaking, and my mom looked a bit embarrassed but proud. Well, I guess those years of training came in handy after all. Over the next 2 days, the shop owner worked tirelessly to alter the dress. My mom, maid of honor, and I took turns bringing her food and coffee. When I finally tried on the finished dress, I was amazed. It was even more beautiful than my original one. As for Karen, well, last I heard, she was facing some serious charges and mandatory counseling. The reception was a blast. Everyone was in high spirits. My mom became the star of the party, with everyone asking her to demonstrate her martial arts moves, which she politely declined, not wanting to risk any more dislocated shoulders. As my new husband and I danced our first dance as a married couple, he smiled, kissed me softly, and whispered in my ear, "Don't worry, I've already changed the locks in our house, just in case." We both laughed, and in that moment I knew that no matter what life threw at us, we'd face it together. And if all else failed, well, we always had my mom's judo skills to fall back on. In 8th grade, when I got really sick, I missed a few months of school completely, and even when I came back, I could only do half days for a while. I tried to keep up with homework, but without being in class, I struggled. I'm the kind of person who learns best by seeing and hearing things explained. So when it came time to start high school, my grades weren't great. They put me in the easier classes to start. But here's the thing, the doctors had finally figured out what was wrong with me, and the medicine was working. I was feeling so much better, and I was determined to do well in high school. I was the only kid from my grade school to go to Westfield High. The city line was literally our back fence, so all my old classmates went to a different school. I had to start from scratch making friends, which wasn't easy. Most of the kids had known each other their whole lives. Eventually, I made some friends. Most of them were in a marching band, even though I wasn't. I thought everything was going great. I was getting good grades, nearly all A's, and I was happy with my new friends. Little did I know there was trouble brewing. There was this girl in the band, let's call her Karen. She was friends with some of my friends, but we didn't really talk much. What I didn't know is that Karen was obsessed with being in the top 10 of our class. And suddenly she found herself at number 11 because I had made it into the top 10. I knew I was doing well in school, but I had no idea it was bothering anyone. I was just focused on getting into the advanced classes so I could apply to the colleges I wanted. Sophomore year was tough. I had to take both algebra and geometry to catch up. Math has always been my worst subject, so taking two math classes at once was like torture. I'm pretty sure that year took a few years off my life, but I managed to get through it. It wasn't until junior year that I found out about Karen's problem with me. We were in ACT prep class, and one of my friends casually said, "If you do well on the ACTs, then Karen will have to stop saying you cheated your way to the top." I was shocked. "What are you talking about?" Everyone in our group, about 9 people, just stared at me. Finally, someone said, "You know, Karen has been saying you took those easy classes freshman year to boost your grade point average, right?" "No, I didn't know that," I said, still trying to process what I was hearing. Another friend chimed in. "Yeah, she's been talking all summer about how when she gets a better ACT score than you, it will prove you shouldn't be in the top 10. I was baffled. Okay, so does she think she gets to take my spot if she gets a higher score? I couldn't understand why this was so important to her. As the ACT test day approached, I tried not to think about Karen's weird competition. I just focused on doing my best. When we finally got our scores back, Karen was telling everyone about her score of 31. Now, that's a really good score. Karen was super smart, which made this whole thing even more confusing to me. I didn't say anything about my score. I knew Karen would ask me in front of everyone, and I'll admit I had a bit of a pity streak. I wanted to see how it would play out. Sure enough, at lunch that day, Karen stood up at the end of our table and practically shouted, "Clara, "Did you hear I got a 31?" I took a sip of my soda and calmly replied, "Sure did that. Congratulations." She just stood there for a minute, waiting. When I didn't say anything else, she finally asked, "Well, I haven't heard from anyone what you got. Don't you want to share?" I shrugged. "I don't mind. I got a 32. The look on her face was like watching a balloon deflate. I know it wasn't my proudest moment, but after all the stuff she'd been saying behind my back, it felt pretty good. Looking back, I still can't believe how much drama there was over grades and test scores. I mean, I understand wanting to do well in school, but Karen took it to a whole new level. Funny thing is, I never even wanted to compete with her. I was just trying to do my best to make up for the time I lost when I was sick. But Karen had created this whole rivalry in her head without even telling me about it. After the ACT scores came out, things got a bit awkward in our friend group. Some people thought it was hilarious how it all played out, but others felt bad for Karen. Me? I was just confused by the whole thing. Karen avoided me for a while after that. I think she was embarrassed, but I wasn't about to bring it up. I just went about my business focusing on my classes and trying to keep my grades up. As we got closer to graduation, the class rankings became a bigger deal. I found out I was actually ranked 4th in our class. There were 3 valedictorians with perfect 4.0 grade point averages, and I was a salutatorian. Karen ended up somewhere in the top 10, but I never found out exactly where. High school is a weird time. Everyone's trying to figure out who they are and where they fit in. Sometimes that leads to unnecessary competition and drama. But in the end, we all just want to succeed and be recognized for our hard work. I went to REI just shopping around waiting for my friend to meet up with me so we could go rock climbing a block away. This guy comes up to me and asks if we have some pants in his size, and I'm like, "Oh, sorry, bro, I don't work here." I thought it was weird because I was carrying around a gym bag because, again, I was going to go climbing. I was also wearing sunglasses and holding a coffee, so I definitely didn't look like I was working. Even weirder, like 10 minutes go by and this guy comes back to me again with a new question. I legitimately said, "I still do work here, man." He was like, "Oh," in a way that made it seem like he was annoyed. And then he just stood there for like 5 seconds. I turned away and looked at whatever I was looking at, hoping he would just go away. He didn't. I decided that I was going to deal with it, so I left. Like, seriously? What on earth? Did he not recognize me because people like that don't make eye contact with lowly employees, or did he figure 10 minutes was enough for me to go ahead and get a job there? I swear, some people are just too much to handle. And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching and see you next time.